Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever episode of Talking with Thompson, the podcast. I am your host, the pretty boy of professional wrestling, Nick Thompson. And as you can tell by that introduction, yes, I am a professional wrestler. I made my debut in October of 2020 as a wrestler, and then in December of 2020 as a manager. And it kind of switches between night and day with what I want to do. Sometimes by day I want to be a wrestler, by night I want to be a manager, and sometimes it's vice versa. So it kind of just varies, and a lot of people in the business kind of know that feeling, or they kind of know of that feeling, and a lot of fans, if they want to be wrestlers or whatever, yeah, sometimes you get those feelings, but you just gotta overcome them, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to be the best I can be. But this podcast, even though I just said I'm a professional wrestler, this podcast is not going to be about professional wrestling. Sure, I will still there'll be episodes here and there where I talk about like my own career and like if I win a championship or like if I get a big opportunity. Sure, that'll probably be discussed on here. Um, but also if I have guests who are my friends in the wrestling business, we could talk about their career, we could talk about my career, we could talk about matches we've had, we could talk about all that stuff. But this podcast, and the reason why I'm starting this podcast, is pretty much to escape from professional wrestling and just kind of be myself. Um, Obviously, I want wrestling to be my life, but I'm starting to realize that there's obviously more to life than wrestling. So I kind of want to share my love for other interests on here and get my friends involved and get my family involved in episodes, and just keep talking and talking and talking about everything that's happened, upcoming news with like sports, upcoming news with movies, talk about movies, talk about like, oh, a new Funko Pop just came out, 'cause my good friend Ashley's a big Funko collector like myself, and like stuff like that, just to share my interests, my other interests outside of wrestling. Obviously, there could still be a decent part of this podcast that focuses on wrestling, but I'm not going to try to make it that big of a focus. So, uh, yeah, this podcast, I mean, it's obviously it's a start. You got to start somewhere. I was talking with I messaged Chris Van Vliet. I messaged him on Instagram the other day. I think it was like last week, and I was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. What are like some things that you recommend that I do?" And then he sent me his podcast where it was like 5 things to do before you start a podcast. And one that stuck out to me was like he just said plain and simple, just start. So that's what I'm doing here. Might not be the best episode, but I know over time I will improve. You just got to start somewhere and you just got to do it. I've been sitting looking at this microphone and looking at the headset in my room in my Amazon box that I got it in. And I've been sitting and looking at it. And I'm like, man, I got to start it. Even though I only have like 2 free nights in the week, I gotta do it. Even during the day, if I have like some time, which is what I'm doing right now. It's Thursday, May 6th. And if I have time during the day, I'm like, I can't just not do it. I have to get started somewhere. So that's what I'm doing right now. And hopefully you guys are still listening. We're about like 4 minutes in. But yeah, so what this podcast will pretty much talk about, this podcast will pretty much focus on sports, but not obviously wrestling. It'll probably focus more on like when I have my buddy Millie come on the show, it'll be like football, baseball, hockey, stuff like that. And I'm a big hockey fan. I'm a big New York Rangers fan. New York Rangers represent. That's who I follow. That's who I like. I always loved the Rangers. I grew up a Rangers fan. And yeah, I was actually at the game on Monday at the Garden, and we were versing the Washington Capitals. And Tom Wilson of the Capitals decided to go after Bushnevik after he, like, I don't know, tried to get the puck in the net and the goalie had it stopped, something like that. He went after him. All of a sudden, a big brawl between both teams. Wilson takes down Panarin, and that was not good for us because Panarin is arguably one of our best players, and he's definitely top two in my opinion. And you know, seeing that, it was like, oh my God, what's going on here? And now Panarin's out for the rest of the season, but it doesn't really matter because I think we only got a game left now, and we're not making the playoffs. But it still sucks to see that happen, and for Wilson, my opinion, to only get 5K charged, that's not a lot. Or he should have at least been suspended because he has had other problems in the league. It's just my opinion. Um, but yeah, so seeing that, it was kind of reminded me why I love hockey so much because you see like just the atmosphere of being in the arena. It was good to be back because those tickets we were waiting for like 2 years, and then we had to reschedule because of everything going on, and we finally got to a game, my dad and I, and it was awesome. It was awesome. But yeah, so we're pretty much gonna be talking about those sports. My buddy Slater, I'll probably get him on. We're gonna probably talk about Star Wars because he's a big fan of Star Wars. I like Star Wars too. Let me talk about Marvel, DC. Um, Even him and I sometimes we travel. We go to Toy Cons. We'll probably talk about different life experiences. Like I'll talk to you guys. I'm just gonna give you a little heads up. I'll probably do an episode where I talk about how I got stuck on an escalator. I don't think anybody's ever gotten stuck on an escalator in their life, but I managed to, and I was holding ice cream, which was the most important thing in my life at that moment. Twist with rainbow sprinkles at a small cup. Most important thing in my life. While I got stuck on an escalator, we'll get into that in a future episode, but expect stories like that, stories possibly from Slater, stories from him and I actually, because he's my best friend, going to different places and just, I don't know, being stupid or, just like having these crazy memories, even, from high school or from college or when we just traveled. And, yeah, expect that. Same thing with Millie, too, because, we're the three musketeers, I like to say. We're, we're the Three Stooges. We always tend to do something stupid sometimes, but we always love having fun. So yeah, so expect some stories like that. Trying to think, I had a couple of episodes lined down. I actually have my phone right here of what I wanted to do because that was another thing when I was talking with Chris Van Vliet. He's like, try and have a list of things like of episodes you want to do, guests you want to have. So I have that. So yeah, there's stuff like video games we'll be talking about. There'll probably be a whole entire episode dedicated to Batman because I grew up watching Batman at my grandparents' house with my grandfather. Unfortunately, he passed away. But those memories live on in my opinion because I've only watched Adam West Batman. That is my favorite Batman, and he will always be my favorite Batman because it reminds me of the times I had with my grandfather. And also, it gives back that old school feel because I'm a big. I don't know that I think maybe the movie came out in '89. I think it might have. I could be wrong on that, but I'm a big '80s guy. So like even having that, even if it wasn't from the '80s, still like old school. It's just pretty cool to see. So it kind of brings back that nostalgic feel for me. Like I'm a big Back to the Future guy, and we were actually at the hockey game, like I said, and Michael J. Fox was actually in attendance at the hockey game, and he is one of, if not my favorite actor. And seeing him there, it was like, oh my God, he's right there. And it's guys like him, it's guys like John Belushi, Chevy Chase. I'm trying to think who else. Will Ferrell. Will Smith, guys like that. But really, those top three, Chevy Chase, John Belushi, and Michael J. Fox, it's because of them that I actually want to start getting into acting as well. So, like, I have so many things I want to accomplish outside of professional wrestling. And I'm realizing as even I was at the Ranger game, I was talking to my dad, and I'm like, there's so much more to life than just wrestling. And we were kind of talking about it. Like I have so many things I want to do. Not now, I'm not saying I will accomplish them. Like I'll be successful in them, but even just to do them in my lifetime, that'll be a big. That'll make me feel successful. Like I obviously want to wrestle. I'm doing that right now. I want to act as well, and I'm trying to get started with that. I ask people to recommend different different acting schools around the New York, New Jersey area so that I can start. Um, I want to start a podcast, which is what I'm doing now. You just got to get started with it. I want to grow my YouTube channel. So if you're watching this, I think this will be uploaded to YouTube as well. But I'm going to try and get this on Spotify. But if this just goes onto YouTube, I have another channel which is just the same title as this one, which is Nick Thompson. But that one, I think you have to type in like Nick Thompson WWE or something like that because I did so many wrestling videos when I was younger and I used to like animate with the wrestling figures and stuff. And yeah, some of it's kind of cringe, but like I made those videos private and deleted some of them so you can't see them. But yeah, if you just type in that, then you'll probably see my bigger channel, and that'll be the one that you guys will probably want to check out because that's the one I upload to. But yeah, I want to do all that stuff. I just want to enjoy everything. I want to hang out with my friends more. So this could be a way of hanging out with my friends after after we film an episode for the podcast. We go out, get some lunch, get some drinks or something, something. But yeah, uh, another episode. I said Batman. I know I went on a little ramble there with talking about Batman and then talking about my friends and what I want to do. But yeah, going back to the episodes list, I even wrote down something for Spider-Man because Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. It was always Batman, but then I saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and then after that I became hooked on Spider-Man again. And then Tobey Maguire. I have yet to see any Tom Holland movies, so I can't judge Tom Holland. I've seen some Andrew Garfield movies. I think he only has like two, and yeah, no, nobody's topping the goat. Nobody's topping the goat. Tobey Maguire will always, always be the best Spider-Man in my opinion. All the time, people when I ask them, they're saying Tom Holland's gonna be the best. Tom Holland's the best, or Andrew Garfield. I think I had one person say Andrew Garfield. I'm like, okay. I mean, I respect your opinion, but you're really gonna top him over Tobey Maguire. And that's everybody's different opinion. But in my opinion, Tobey Maguire, I don't know, something about him. I mean, yes, he seemed a little old to be Spider-Man, but back then, like what was it, like 2002? Nobody was thinking that. I mean, I wasn't thinking that. I was like 5 years old. I wasn't thinking that. So Tobey Maguire, I guess, because I have again the most memories with him, and also because I just like the way he portrayed the character. That he's just my favorite. But we'll get into that in that episode. That's just a little preview. But yeah, I think I mentioned before video games. I have my good buddy Slater. He likes to play video games, and he knows more about video games than I do. So having him on the podcast for that episode, he could just go off with all the video games he plays, and I could just be sitting here like, yup, 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 because I don't really know a lot of video games, but I do play video games. I play WWE 2K. I'll play Halo Reach. I'll play Guitar Hero. I'll play NHL. I'll play Minecraft. I played Minecraft a couple times. I know a lot of people think that's like a meme or something, but Minecraft's Minecraft, okay? It's giving me, some creative ideas. So, like I've created a whole entire wrestling stage on there. And I created a whole wrestling ring and created all this. Slater and I were playing it the other day or like a few months ago, and we like built like this whole entire like underground castle fort thing. I don't even know what it was. It was pretty cool though. And yeah, I played those games. GameCube I have as well. I'm an Xbox 3 I'm an Xbox One guy. So I have the Xbox One games. I have 360 as well. I have GameCube. I have a Game Boy. And I did have a Wii, but we gave it to my sister. and I kind of regret that because that had all the best Mario games on there. So the only Mario game I could really play on GameCube is like Mario Super Strikers, which is that hits different. That's a good game that I played that all the time as a kid, and Mario Super Party or Mario Party 8. Yeah, I think that's what it's called. So yeah, those are the only ones I could really play. So yeah, having Slater on here will definitely he'll just take over that episode for the video games episode of the podcast. So we'll just let him do that. And like oh yeah. There's I just looked at my list and I saw another episode. One thing that I want and I want you guys to see like the comedy side of us, cuz like I could sit here and be serious the whole time and be like, "Yeah, welcome to this podcast. I'm here talking about this. I'm just going to talk about this all day and this is all I'm going to talk about." And I could be like this serious and this, uh yeah, just talking about this and this. That can make people to me that kind of makes me lose attention quick. Like I need something to happen. I need like either raising a voice or like wow that happened or something. So like I want you guys to see like the comedy side or hear the comedy side of like some of our experiences. So like if I have my buddies on, I have an episode here that's called Pickup Lines. And we're pretty much just gonna go around to each other and we're just gonna be like, okay, what was a pickup line that you used that failed? Or if you didn't use one, what was one you were thinking of using? And then we'll tell them if it's good or not, or it's something like that. I think that would be pretty fun. And then we'll also in that episode we'll kind of look up pickup lines and just kind of read them and be like, oh, well, this is a little weird, or like why would you do this, or so like that brings something different I feel to the table. So it's not. It's just us talking about what we love. I mean, obviously, this is my podcast. This is the Talking with Thompson podcast. This will always be my podcast. But having my guests on, I think, could bring out not only more of myself to you guys, but also it can kind of give you a little taste of like who my friends are and what we do. Because like it, I don't know. I just feel like that if you guys know or you guys relate with us a little bit more. uh, I feel like we want to be relatable. So like if we can get you guys to relate to us more, that's just the goal. So that's a big part of what I want to do, and I just want to make this an escape for people to get away from their job if they had a bad day, or like if they have a different hobby like how I have with wrestling, and you just need to escape from it, and like just listen to somebody else talking, something like that, because that's what I'm trying to do with my YouTube channel. I've always been that way. I just want to inspire people as well. And if I could just get one listener to listen to this and be like, "Oh yeah, you inspired me," or like your podcast, I look forward to it every day, or your YouTube channel, or seeing you do what you love, that inspires me. Something like that. That's all I ask. That's all I've ever wanted. I don't need to make it far. Of course I want to. I want to make wrestling a living, but if I don't make it far in the wrestling business or in acting or in uh this podcast or in YouTube, if I don't make it far, but I know that I've inspired a lot of people, then I'll be happy. I'll be okay. So yeah, I mean, I think we're 19 minutes in now. I don't think I'm really gonna edit anything because on a podcast, I don't think you're really supposed to edit unless you maybe edit like a sound intro in and then an intro out, or like an outro. Um, and you like edit like the very last bits if you're still talking or something like that. But I mean, if you're listening this far, I mean, thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you because you guys are real champs. Because here I am just talking about whatever. Because I'm trying to. I had some things written down. I'll read you guys what I had for the first episode written down. I didn't do great planning for this, so all I had was introducing myself. Who am I? What do I do? Hobbies, etc. What's etc.? What is etc. Like what am I? I was kind of expecting to have like everything down pat. Like, okay, all right, so I'll go into who I am. Okay, I'm Nick Thompson. I'll go into what do I do? Wrestling. Okay, okay, hobbies. Okay, I kind of talked about them, but then it's like what is etc. So then I'm like sitting there and I'm like, what do I do next? And then it's like, why am I starting this podcast? And then I kind of just let it flow and talked about what I wanted to talk about in this episode. So I thank you all so much for listening to this if you are right now, because I really need to work on my planning here, because etc. can go a long way. you know Though not a lot of people, like myself included, when you put etc. I don't really know what I meant by etc. So, and we've been talked about it, the word etc. that it's like I'm starting to like get a little dizzy from saying it. I don't even know, but I've been saying it for the past, like, I don't know, a minute. But yeah, so as you can tell, my planning needs to improve. But this is the first episode, so we gotta let this first installment breathe. We gotta let it we gotta see what happens. I'll be talking on this podcast obviously a lot. I'm gonna try and film, or record every week. I'm gonna try. My good days are like Mondays and Saturdays to record. I'm doing this on a Thursday morning. I could do it Thursday mornings, but I'm probably just gonna do it on Mondays and Saturdays, and that's probably gonna be my big day to record. So even hopefully, my goal is to have this episode edited and up on Saturday, to make it the first one. I'm going to try and see how to get it on Spotify, how to get it on Apple Podcasts, one of those. And I'm going to also put it on YouTube. And so that's going to be that. Hopefully, I can get it on by Saturday. I mean, tomorrow I'm working a whole day. And then I have like training on Saturday, but then after that, I'm okay. And, I have a little time. And Monday is just like my free day. So if I don't get to it Saturday, then I can do it Monday. But I want to try and get it on Saturday, because then Monday I'll try and record episode 2, or next Tuesday morning or Thursday morning I'll try and record episode 2, and then get it up by like Saturday or Monday. So probably expect a new episode every Saturday or Monday. I'm gonna try and keep at it with this, but sometimes sometimes life gets in the way and your schedule gets a little busy. So you might not be able to upload every like Monday or Saturday that I'm saying, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna make it my goal to put something up every Saturday or Monday. And if I upload on Saturday, don't expect one on Monday. Expect one like the following Saturday. Or sometimes you might be surprised. Maybe I'll do one Saturday, Monday, and then maybe Saturday again, or maybe Saturday, Monday, and then just not one on the next Saturday, and just wait till next Monday. So you never know what's gonna happen. But I'm gonna try and keep at it and be consistent with this, because that's another thing. You have to be consistent, and I just want to, give you guys a little insight of who I am and what I love doing. Uh, every episode that I'm gonna have is pretty much gonna talk about something else that I love. So like, sure, there'll be, like I said, a couple episodes for pro wrestling, but then there's gonna be all those other things that I mentioned before, and I'm gonna try and have my friends there so that I can show not only my love but their love for it as well. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of it. I mean, we're 24 minutes in. I know it's kind of a small podcast, like a very short episode for the first podcast, but we all got to start somewhere. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna end this right here. So I thank you all so much for tuning in to the first episode of Talking with Thompson, the podcast. And be sure to, if I could get this on Spotify, I think you have to follow it on Spotify. Make sure to follow it or subscribe. I think subscribe is on Apple Podcast. Either way, just make sure that you follow or subscribe. I'm gonna put this on my second YouTube channel, and yeah, make sure to go and subscribe to that channel to stay updated. Put the notification bell on, and yeah, I think that's it for this episode. So I thank you so much for listening once again. It's been real. I am Nick Thompson. Thank you so much for tuning in to the first episode of the Talking with Thompson podcast. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.